Okay, welcome back, guys. Really appreciate y'all watching. Make sure and like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Share the videos on Facebook and stuff. It does really help us out a lot. Now let's talk about doing one-handed magazine changes and the reason for that. So you guys have seen my videos in the past. You know I'm not a huge advocate of doing one-handed drills because I think there's very few situations where those come into play in an actual gunfight. But there are some situations, so it is certainly worth training. I think it's more important to train your dominant hand than your non-dominant hand because I think you're more likely to have to do that in a one-handed situation. The only reason you would be doing our non-dominant hand is if you were injured in that hand or injured in your dominant hand, so shot in the hand, something like that. Which, when you think about it, this is what's in front of me when I'm in an engagement. There is some likelihood of that happening. So I'm not saying to ignore left-hand shooting. I'm just saying I don't put as much emphasis on it as a lot of other instructors do. Now, when it comes to doing a one-handed drill, there are reasons why we would do it. If we're holding a baby or something that we simply cannot... Are you holding the baby?
I'm holding the baby. Yep.
If we're holding a baby or something that we simply can't let go, we have to know how to manipulate that gun one-handed. So let's kind of work through this and see. There's two ways to do a magazine change with this. One of them is replacing the gun into the holster and using the holster as support. The other one Amanda Lynn's going to show you that goes behind the knee. So let's see what this looks like. Okay. All right, so that is number one. You ready to do number two?
Ready to do number two. Ready?
Okay, so I just wanted to go over that and show you guys how to do a magazine change. I think it's an important thing to learn how to do one-handed. It is an important thing to practice because it's not intuitive and we get so used to using our non-dominant hand to actually do that magazine change that you can see all the times that we practice this, we kept going to grab it with our left hand, or Amanda Lynn would go to do it with her holster instead of putting it behind her knee. So we had a number of different kind of flub ups on it. So just keep that in mind. It is an important thing to make sure that you're practicing and trying out. But at the same time, I don't want you to spend a ton of time wasting time on one-handed shooting because, again, there's very few situations that it's called for. It does happen, but they're few and far between. You're far more likely to use both hands, or even if you're doing one hand, to be firing from retention here while you're holding somebody off or something along those lines, rather than actually having to do a gunfight with one hand and engage targets and change magazines. It's just not the reality. Magazine changes are kind of few and far between. I do think you should carry a spare magazine, but they don't happen a ton from the standpoint of a civilian type engagement. Still train it, but just realize what the reality of it is. Thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure and like, subscribe, ring that bell if you haven't already done so. We'll catch y'all later.